Hey everyone, and welcome to my keyed modal Chorder version 1.0, and this is my first public release of an Ableton Rack that I created. Pardon me. This rack was inspired by a recent production course I was taking that spent a little bit of time getting into theory and things like modes and scales and things of that nature. And one of the exercises they had us do in this course was to create what were called harmonic templates. And the basic idea was that you have a clip and you put to the left of your normal measures here, you of course put notes that represent all the notes of your scale, so that then you've got them marked over here on the left hand side, and you can hit fold and you'll stay to the scale and so forth. And it was kind of a useful thing, but it did require constantly dragging in clips with the right harmonic template, or building them and copying and pasting all these notes and all this stuff. And they were a little bit cumbersome to work with, but I liked the idea. The concept was pretty cool. And I decided that it would be a lot more flexible if this were just in a rack, and I could just dial up the mode that I wanted, and I got that working, and then of course it grew from there. So I want to demonstrate it here and then let it out into the wild, and you can play with it, and hopefully you find it useful. So what I have set up here for this demonstration is just a default operator patch. You know, nothing fancy going on there. And I've got my actual keyed modal Chorder rack here, and it's actually several racks nested inside each other, but for the most part this is all you're going to need to look at. If you really want to look under the hood, you can look at how it's all built, but you won't really need to just to use it. And this scale plugin is only here so that you can see what notes I'm actually playing. I'm just using the computer keyboard here. I'm not a MIDI controller or anything like that, just keeping it simple. So what we can do here is we've got, right now everything is basically turned off. I am in chromatic mode, which is by having the mode dial set to 0. Incidentally, I've got, if you look over here, you notice the info view, I've got text explaining each one of these. I've gone ahead and labeled them all. So for the most part, you should just be able to hover over these and see what everything does. But I'll walk you through it. So with mode set to 0, of course, we are in chromatic mode, which you can see here. This little speaker icon here is just barely gray, and you'll see it toggle through these as I go, but right now you can see that this is the mode I'm in, which is just plain chromatic. Essentially this is turned off right now. So you can see over here I'll play my notes in the chromatic scale, and you can see I can play every note of the scale, and I can just do whatever I want. So right now there's no mode enforcement, no scale enforcement, no nothing. And I can of course transpose. And this is transposing just the root note that I'm playing. You can see over here my note is not changing. I'm playing C3. I'm at C3 to D4 right now. So I keep playing C3, and this just allows me to transpose the bass note. Now, octaves are chords. This is something that I added for myself. I just found it would be really useful to have it also be a chord generator. And it's got 3 states. Off, which just lets me play normal notes. As soon as I turn it on, I get octaves. I've now got enabled this octave up and octave down macros. So with this, in any of the states between 1 and 64, we will get just octaves. Once we get above 64, we get chords. But right now, let's just leave it in octave mode. And we can, by default, we have up 12 and down 12. So we have big 3-note octaves. So for every note I play, I'm getting an extra note above and below 1 octave. I can adjust this if I want. This can actually become a bit of a chord generator on its own, though most of the time these are really just meant to be octave up, octave down. But if you want to adjust them for some other purpose, you are free to do so. So whatever you want to do there. Right now I'll just leave them at their defaults of up and down 1 octave. Now you notice if I just play a scale, of course I'm in chromatic mode, so that's going to be just a major scale because that's what I played. You can see my notes over here. I'm playing a major scale. Now, however, let's change the mode. Now, look closely at these little speaker icons here, and it's a little hard to see because it's kind of gray on gray. It's a lighter gray on a darker gray. But if you watch closely, you'll see the speaker icon toggle through these as I move the mode knob. So now I'm in Ionian, which is major, and then I go to Mixolydian, Lydian, Dorian, Aeolian, Phrygian, and Locrian is down below. I have to scroll to see that. So I'm going to go ahead and actually I'll leave this on chromatic, not showing. So right now I'm going to go to Aeolian, which is also natural minor. So now if I play over here, you'll see I'm going to play that same major scale, but if you listen to it, it is not major anymore because I am in Aeolian. That's a natural minor scale. So there you have it, mode control. Of course, if I want to transpose myself, and I'm going to stay in Aeolian mode no matter where I transpose. I will always be in natural minor. So you can pick your mode here, and again, you have to just look closely at the speakers to see which one you're in, because Ableton doesn't have the ability for me to pass the name of the mode in this. All you get is numbers. So you can just scroll through, pick your mode, and have at it. Now, if you want chords, you can turn this up above 64. Now we have chords. Now, what are the notes of the chord? Well, they include octave up and down. So if I don't want those, I'll need to set them both to 0. Go ahead and do that now. And now you see I have a simple 3-note chord. Well, those 3 notes are going to be my root note, which is determined here, and a 2 and a 3. So second and third notes of the chord. So right now I'm playing a major chord, so I'm playing the 1, the 5, and the 9, because these are set to 5 and 9 respectively. So we have a basic triad. C major triad in this case. Now, I am in Dorian mode, though, so I would need to know how Dorian mode is going to affect my chords as I play. So, obviously, this is for people who understand the modes that they're using and why they're using them, or if you just want to explore them and learn about them, it might be useful for that, too. But if I don't want just a simple chord, simple 3-note triad with the 5 and the 9, I can adjust these. So, say I want to go minor, I can drop it down 1 note. And in fact, let me go back to just Ionian, just to keep it that way. So now I've got the 5 and the 8. Of course, I can adjust that too. So whatever you want to adjust these to, you can tweak them here. Of course, you could 0 one out if you didn't want it at all. If I just wanted a dyad, like if I just want to go with fifths, I can do that. Of course, I can leave my octave up and octave down enabled and get some nice extra weight on the bottom or top. And now we can change the mode again. Let's go to natural minor again. So you can see as I play this same note, if I change the modes, there's really only 2 ways this is going to behave, but different modes obviously are going to behave differently based on that mode. If I want to transpose the whole thing, so feel free to do that. And again, I'm just playing the same notes, so all the transposition is happening in the rack. So that is the keyed modal chorder, and I'm finding it fun to play with. I'm finding it useful. Of course, you can get really crazy and you can automate these macro changes. If you want, during performance, you could map them to buttons on the controller. If you wanted an instant chord or mode change or a transposition or whatever, you can, of course, use Ableton's normal clip automation or what have you in order to tweak things as well. Or you can just use it to set things and then just start composing. Of course, once you've got something that you like, if you want to keep the notes without needing this rack to be in later, you can always just map your MIDI output to another track and record the MIDI to a separate track, and then you have the actual notes, and you don't need to worry about having this handy anymore, or you don't need to worry about accidentally changing settings or anything like that. Always a good idea to, if you don't want to print audio, at least print your MIDI. That way you've got it and nothing can inadvertently change it. That's it. If you have any ideas for improvements or things that could be added to this that would be useful, or you just plain enjoy it or find it helpful or want to say anything at all, go ahead and leave a comment and I will be watching for them. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Download link is in the description. Bye-bye.